you came down to a fourth down play, but your defense has given up scores late in games. What's going on with that and not able to close out some games?
Guy made a heck of a play. Coverage was fine. We know what we were running. He jumped up and made a one-hand catch. It was out of the reach that Devin couldn't get there. He made a heck of a play.
I realize it just happened, but the injury to Tristan Wirfs, what do you know right now?
Nothing yet. I just know it's a leg injury, and they carted him off. Hadn't had a chance to go inside.
Todd, overtime there looked like penalties obviously worked against them. How big was that penalty to kind of scout the drive overtime?
Well, all penalties are big. We had some during the game. I think we might have had about 8 or 9 of them. We were close to it as far as that's concerned, and we shot ourselves in the foot on offense with the penalties. We gave them field position with the defensive penalties. We shot ourselves in the foot on the punt return. We got backed up, or the kickoff return right there. We got backed up, and we had to drive further, and we couldn't get the first down.
Todd, how disheartening is this? You're up 7 most of the second half. To go from, instead of 3 straight wins, you lose not only the game but a key player.
This was tough. We had so much in all 3 phases that lost this ball game, whether it was the return game that they returns on us, whether it was punt or kickoff, defensively, key stops at certain times, a penalty to move the ball, letting the run out at certain times. The tackling wasn't great. Offensively, not being able to get third downs was crucial for us, and they were getting to the quarterback too much in the second half.
Some of those issues that you just mentioned, they had happened earlier in the season and kind of surfaced today. Were there any of them that were particularly surprising to you after you thought maybe you had those corrected?
Well, nothing gets corrected. You got to play every week. We don't try to correct things and have it done for the year. You got to play every week. They played hard. We didn't play smart. We didn't play good football. We didn't play sound football, and we let things go.
At the end of regulation there, obviously they have the ball. Is there any thought to calling a timeout when you know it's a 3rd or a 4th down near the goal line, just to give yourself more time to get to answer with a field goal, if you will?
You talking about the overtime or the regular
Talking
part
about
of the game?
at the end of regulation.
The end of regulation.
No, that clock was going to run down. We didn't have enough to stop it right there. So it was overtime right there, right off the top. Once we couldn't get the other play, Julio made a great play, then we couldn't get there. It was going to overtime.
Lose a player of Tristan's caliber, and obviously we don't know the severity of the injury, but it looked pretty bad. What do you say to your team to get them back on track? You still have a significant number of games in front of you. You could still possibly win the division. What do you say to them?
I mean, it's tough. We know it's tough. When you lose a player like that, you say it's part of the game, but a lot of those guys are so close that it hurts a lot, and the next man's got to step up, and hopefully it's not as bad as it looked, and he gets a speedy recovery, and you go from there. That's all you can do in this game. It's a tragedy to lose guys like that on a team, but at the same time, we got to push on.
You mentioned, that they're all very close. Tristan seems like he's one of the most likable guys on the team, just from an attitude standpoint, an effort standpoint. Like, what does he bring to your team?
He brings leadership. He brings toughness. Obviously, he's one of the best in the game. So when you lose a guy of that caliber, it's going to be tough to replace. But, Wells and all those guys are going to have to step in, and we have to keep going.
Todd, you didn't for that today. It seemed like Rashad had a big run on the first drive was a big part of that. How did you feel like he played over the course of the game?
I have to look at the tape overall. I know he played tough. I know he had some good pickups on blocking right there, but the holes kind of closed up on him a little bit later on in the ball game. We got to find a way to stay consistent on first down.
Vita Vea continued to, he was out there today playing. I know he had the foot injury during the week. How much was that impacting him, if at all, during the game?
I don't think it did. I got to look at it and see it some more on film, but I don't think it impacted him.
Still just 17 points. You've got trouble scoring points all year. What's not happening to get more points on the board?
We're not finishing third downs. Third downs have been crucial for us, stopping us from driving the ball. I think we were like 4 of 16, something like that. They might have been 5 of 17, which was about 24%. And if you can't score or get the ball moving on third down, it's going to be tough to stay on the field.
And then came back. Is that somewhere he was cleared from protocol, was allowed to return, basically?
Yeah, he was cleared. He was fine.
And as far as finishing the game, was he?
As far as I know, he was fine.
Anything else?
Yeah.